Before the beginning of the very beginning, beyond the constraints of existence itself, an all-powerful, all-knowing, and all-encompassing oneness that just was. In an effort to bring itself entertainment, it sought to create other wills, with space for them to occupy, and time for them to experience events sequentially, along with 6 other attributes that later came to be known as the Great Holy Spirits and the Void. But this was incomplete. God was perfect, omniscient, and such. He couldn't be surprised. And for this problem, it decided to create for itself an avatar, a lesser, imperfect existence of its own, a part of itself, to experience the joy it could not feel itself. And that avatar was what would later come to be known as the Creator, Veldanava. Before the beginning of creation, when time and space were non-existent, there was only a singular will, an infinite and boundless existence limited solely by its imagination. This will eventually became profoundly bored. To alleviate this boredom, it decided to create other wills. Thus began the grand construction of a new reality, with space for these wills to occupy, and time for them to experience events in sequence. In search of fulfillment, the will chose to relinquish its omnipotence and omniscience, transforming into Veldanava, a being infused with the Creator's will, but now part of creation rather than above it. And then he met the creator of this world, the supreme and most powerful being. Guy was enjoying his days of peace and quiet, yet his senses were always sharpened. It was for this reason that it became immediately obvious to him That being was Veldanava, the Star King Dragon, who had created this world. If you're the creator, then show me your power, Guy challenged boldly. He laughed fearlessly, his confidence unwavering. He did not doubt that he was the strongest and regarded challenging Veldanava as a matter of course. The result, however, was a crushing defeat. In an instant, Guy found himself sprawled on the ground, utterly without the chance to fight back. His pride, which had never wavered in its belief of his strength, was shattered into a million pieces. According to the law that dictated defeat results in servitude, Guy was meant to become Veldanava's servant. Yet his pride would have none of that. Kill me, I am satisfied. I now understand that in this world there is a higher power. There is no end to it, and I too am part of an unbroken line of reason. Oh great being, I am proud to have lost to you. made sure the world will progress without me, and even in my absence, they can fend for themselves. That's why knowing I will die anytime soon isn't so bad. Veldanava laughed, saying he never had to deal with a lifespan until now, but to him it feels like a gift. Tempest, the daughter of Veldanava-sama. You understand that, right? He was fully venting his frustration now. But Michael didn't let it bother him. "Oh, is that a problem?" he asked, keeping a cool expression. "A problem? I mean, wouldn't that displease Sir Veldanava?" It was a natural question from Dino's point of view. Attempting to do anything to Milim was truly nothing but an act of betrayal against Veldanava. What could Michael be thinking? His response was so matter-of-fact that he didn't seem to think it was any kind of problem at all. And Feldway agreed with him. "Yes, Dino. The Demon Lord Milim is the daughter of Sir Veldanava. However, the way I see it, we are no different from her in terms of being created by that dragon." That's likely what Michael and Feldway truly believed. Their respect and loyalty were directed at no one but Veldanava. They didn't even have a shred of affection for his daughter.